Hello. Today we are going to create the dreaded die line to go around our postage stamps. So I'm going to create this in Illustrator. I'm going to open a new Illustrator document. Doesn't really matter what size, so we're just going to make sure that we are on print, because we are going to print these, in inches. Letters fine, no bleed, everything here is good. So here's our page. Zoom in a little bit on that. What I want to do is make a kind of a template for the first stamp so I know what size to make this finally. So I'm just going to come over here, make sure there's no stroke, pick a color for the foreground, and remember this is just for a template, so I'm just going to drag this out here and then I can make it whatever size I want. You might see these numbers in the options bar here. If not, you'll see transform and you can click this. This shows me where that object is on the screen. This shows me the height and width of that object in inches, unfortunately. So to switch it to millimeters, because that's what our stamp is measured in millimeters, I'm going to Command R or Control R to put my rulers up. I'm going to right click or Control click in the corner and switch this to millimeters. So now when I come back over here, I'll have millimeters. Alright, our stamp, which is 22, when we're building it at 4 times the size, will end up being 88. And the smallest size for the long side is going to be 25, so that times 4 will be 100 millimeters. Alright, so there we go. This can be also horizontal or vertical, it doesn't matter. At this point I'm just using it for a template. Okay, so I am going to turn this off for now, save it for later. So here's my layers, eyeball off, new layer. Oh, I'm sorry, eyeball off. Now I'm working on a new layer. So the pen tool, under view, we're going to go down and show grid, or command and apostrophe. And here's our grid. I'm going to zoom in here so we can see this. A couple of things need to happen. One, I need to have the snap to grid on. Snap to grid on. I need the pen tool to be foreground color. Black will be the best for this. 1 point stroke. Okay. Then I'm just going to start clicking in here. If snap to grid's not on, this will not work. I'm going to go up 2 lines and then snap again. Zoom in here. Then I'm going to come here. This may be a little different than I've done it in class, but it works out the same way. Okay. We have determined that exactly the right number of lumps to have in our lumpy die line around our stamp on the short side was 14. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 7. And I'm going to take this right now and duplicate it. Oh, when I'm duplicating these things, I don't want the bounding box on because it becomes hard for me to grab that corner, and that's what I want to grab a hold of. So if I go up under view and turn off bounding box or hide the bounding box, now when I select this, I can select it from this corner. I'm going to hold down the Alt or the Option key and drag select it, so I'm making a copy of it. See how that works? And now I'm just going to drag it and lock it into that position right there. If I select both of those by marqueing that end and Command J or Control J, they will lock together and become one. Now if I zoom out, you'll see that we have 14 humps on our stamp. But I want to have one end starting down and one end ending up. So I'm going to come grab with the direct selection tool just this last section and hit delete. Now I have one up and one down. While I have the selection tools still selected, I'm going to drag this down to there. I'm going to do that one more time. I want this to be here. Important step. If that doesn't end up in the middle, none of this will work. Same thing for this end. Just that end right there. Okay? So now I should have something that looks, oops, like this. One down, one up, both in the middle, 14 humps more or less. Under the pen tool, if I hold and click, I will get the convert anchor point tool or the caret tool. I'm going to zoom back in here, and I'm going to grab these one at a time, click, and I'm going to drag them out whichever way makes most sense. And see how it's snapping? I want to snap it to that first intersection. So, let me zoom in a little bit more. I'm going to grab and snap to the first intersection. Looks like I have to go to the left. Do not do this one, just the first pointed section. Okay, snap, snap, snap. We should have some music right now. Da 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 da. Oh well, maybe not have music right now. Okay. And we only have to do this on one side, then we'll just duplicate this to make our other stamps. But you can see how it makes our stamp wavy the way that we're looking for it. Oh, almost there. Is this ever going to end? Okay. And remember, don't do the very last one, but that one. So now, that's what I have. Okay? I do not need the grid anymore, so I'm going to turn it off under View, Hide Grid. And then I'm just going to use this line to duplicate. So if I grab my rotation tool, which looks like this, the first place you click with the rotation tool becomes the anchor or the center of it. So I want to also make sure that snap to point is on for this to work. Okay. In fact, I can turn snap to grid off now. I'm going to click here, right? And then I'm going to rotate. Any second now. I guess I have to grab a no. Snap, rotate. This so worked in rehearsal. Maybe it has to be selected. Selected, rotate tool, click, rotate. Yeah, that'd be good. Select it first. As I'm rotating it, I want two. So I'm going to hold down the Option or Alt on a PC. So I get two, a duplicate of the first one. I'm also going to hold down the Shift key as I'm rolling around here, so it locks it into a 45 or 90 degree angle. When I get here, I simply let go of the mouse button, let go of the my keys, and then I've moved it over here. So far so good. This is too short this direction, so I need to make this longer. I'll zoom out a little bit farther here. So I'm simply going to duplicate it, and by my calculations, we need two more humps on the long side. So I'm going to drag this by holding down the Option key again, making a duplicate, and I'm going to move it down 1, 2 humps. So about right there. I'm using the arrow keys to move it over, ever so slowly. Okay. And now, what I want to do is I want this good end down at the bottom and this good end at the top. So I need to get rid of half of this. I'm going to use the direct selection tool. And basically I'm just going to come up to any place along the line, and I'm going right in between two humps, and I'm going to let go. Then I'm just going to hit the delete key. Now when I come down from the top, I want to end up in the same place. I want that same piece left over. So I'm coming about the same place I did before, letting go, hitting delete. So I end up with this. I'm going to connect those two together with this tool, drag it over, and when they lock together, I should see that white arrow. I'll do that closer so we can see what's going on. I'm going to drag it from this one. When I get those locked together, I'll get that white arrow. And that way I know they snap together. Now the same thing, those are two independent lines. There's that one and there's this one. But if I select them both and Command J, now they're one. Okay? Zooming out. So the long side, the short side, and I'm just going to duplicate this one more time. I'm sorry. by clicking this, using the Option key for the Mac, Alt key for the PC, and drag that over. I'm just going to drag it over till it's somewhere close. Then I'm going to zoom in here and drag that to this corner just to make sure that I get it. I'm not linking these corners together, by the way. I'm not joining them. So this, I want to drag down, Option again, drag it down, 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 zoom into a corner, and make sure those line up just right. I do want to group them because I don't want to join them yet until I get all my pieces done. So I'm going to drag across all of these like this, and then I'm going to Command G, or group them, Object Group. Okay? Now I want to make it the right size. So I'm going to turn this back on, lock that layer so I don't get a hold of it, and all I'm going to do is scale this down so it fits this more or less. This is when I want my bounding box back on. So I'm going to say View, Show Bounding Box. I'm just using roughly want to put it in the center of that side, like so. And maybe a little farther. Okay. All right. And then I'm going to start scaling it. Now when I scale it, I want to hold down the Shift key so I don't upset the aspect ratio. But somewhere about there. A little in, a little out, around that line all the way around. So that would be a good die line for this. Now to duplicate this, I'm going to turn this off. We don't need it anymore. First of all, I want to make sure that that's back to a point. And if I have scaled it correctly, I mean if I have my scale dialog box, my scale tool set up to scale this, it may have shrunk. So go ahead and switch that back to 1 point. Then I'm just going to duplicate it like this. I'm going to grab this corner. I'm going to grab this. I'm going to hold down the Option key and drag it over here so I can make a duplicate, and I'm going to line it right up with that corner. And I'm going to let go. So far so good. I'm going to zoom out here. If I did all this right, they should line up just like this. I'm going to select both of these now. Oh, that bounding box is messing me up, so I'm going to turn that off. Hide bounding box. Grab this corner, hold down the Option key or the Alt key on a PC, come down here, and I'm looking to get that corner right there. So everything lines up just perfectly. Alright? Now here's the reason I didn't group them. I have duplicate lines here, 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 and here. And for some reason, even though it's the line right on top of another line, it prints darker. So I'm going to select everything I have here. I'm going to ungroup, which is Shift Command and G, or Object Ungroup, and then click away. I'm going to click on each one of these and hit delete. So I'm just deleting one of those two lines. Alright, and now I have one line all the way around. My corners, because they're not joined, have that little weirdness here. So if I select everything and then Command J, see how it joins them all and makes a nice corner? And sometimes you get something weird like this. This I will take with the Direct Select tool, just this one line, and then hit delete. All better. Okay? And then we'll color it a dye color and build our stamps inside those. I hope this makes sense. It did to me. Whether it made sense to you or not, well, we'll see. Thanks. Bye.